It's another edition of Checking In with Hein and Johnny, where the hosts bring in mystery topics that neither host knows anything about until the mics go hot and on the air. We are the show that keeps the host from talking about the weather and World War II 24 hours a day. Hey, Heine, man, what's on your mind?
Mind.
Oh, Johnny, I've been tossing and turning all night. My mind is astir. Mix. It's, I don't know, a mix master, a blender.
A stir of emotion?
How, I don't know how you do it, but how does one get the dental floss off their vacuum roller? I'm pondering it endlessly.
I can see why that would keep you up, because I have the same problem, but because I don't use any dental hygiene habits, my problem is dryer sheets in my auto vacuum Roomba. They just engulf the auto vacuum, and that's all I do is clean out dreary old lint static sheets. Have you ever had a static sheet in the vacuum as well?
No, not yet. Mostly it's, do you unwind the dental floss or do you get some sort of special surgical scissors and cut it out?
I have to cut and pick, like I'm getting a abscessed, picked at, because if you try and pull it, it just snaps anyway. My teeth are so close together. I have too tight. So when I do regular dental floss, or the dental hygienist does dental floss, it just shreds, and I have chunks of dental floss in my mouth, and all they do is this at the end of the session. Sorry, my bad. And they just leave a mouthful of chunks of dental floss, even though I warned them in advance. By the way, my teeth are too close together to use regular dental floss. You must use rope milled from Bethlehem steel. And they're like, "Oh no, I'm so good at this. Don't even worry." It looks like I've got dental floss gauze coming out of my mouth. Ugh.
Your mouth looks like my vacuum roller.
Exactly. So I have to go home and get my industrial strength cabling and yank out all the stuff. I drive home from the dentist with fluff.
Well, Johnny, you've had quite a big week the last period of time.
Big week. Big week. I had escargot 3 times. That means it was a spectacular week, as you know.
Nice. What
Have you had escargot this week?
I have not. I have not even had a snail mucus facial this week.
It doesn't show. Your previous snail mucus facials have held tight. You look taut and pretty this morning. Very pretty. I feel pretty, as you should. You are in a very, very fancy shirt with kind of decorative sleeves today. Is it? Yeah, it's unique. I don't think I've ever seen you in this particular motif.
It's my snow shoveling outfit.
Oh, was it super cold this week in your area?
There was a nice 9-inch frosting that I got to remove from everything yesterday morning, but I think I'll pull through.
You will pull through. My sensitive heart that I'm pretending to have. You have an empathetic. You have a moral backbone, which I do not possess. But I am because I'm a narcissist. Narcissist. I know I have coping capabilities of pretending like I care about other people. So here it goes. Oh, I'm so sorry you had to shovel the snow. How did I do?
I feel a lot better. Your bedside manner is just fantastic. So do tell what Shay Johnny did you were you horking down these beautiful snails in?
Oh my goodness. It was a cornucopia of delights for the culinary palate. We did a restaurant in the Lake Buena Vista area, the tinnitus, the ear wagging restaurant, but it was in the animal kingdom, and the food was delightful. It had works of art. There was a sea urchin looking item that was actually the cheesecake. So it was it was created as an artistic bulb, and it was spectacular. Every part of food was a work of art, which was really interesting and fun. And I do like that. And we had a French French meal every other day. Yeah, we spent that whole week touring good restaurants in that.
We
We we we. So
we.
I did not have I can tell you this. I did not have enough fiber. I should have followed your lead and done a Metamucil tour as well, but I chose not to. So there was some bleeding involved. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave it at that. We normally
Well, that puts the fun in fondue, Johnny.
we we did a charcuterie in many a restaurant. We had lots. Thank you for asking. We had tons of great food on our thing. It is kind of an April Fool's time period. Have you ever done any April Fool's stuff or been punked by anybody famous or infamous in your life? Do you like pranks?
I love pranks, but I never do them.
I hate them. I hate being involved in pranks. They scare me. I cry like a ninny. I do not like them.
Do you remember were you involved when we went and abducted that kid at East High School? And for like to
No,
ask Leslie Shepard out to go to some date.
prom or something.
Yeah, and I think Clark. I know Clark was involved. And we went and tried to stuff this guy in a trunk, and he ran off. It's like today we'd have probably been on.
In the clink.
Yeah, I think somehow he figured out it was all in good fun, and we weren't. But we failed. We were supposed to throw him in the back of a car and take him and dance around and say, "Do you want to go to prom?"
Nice.
We'll have to bring that up with Leslie. I see her from time to time.
She has a delightful presence on Facebook. I will say many folks that we went to school with have done mistakenly allowed me to follow them, and then I can and it's not a good thing for them because I'm just like the stalker.
The restraining orders fly.
Yes, yeah, causing all kinds of alerts in the police area to go off. But yeah, she has a great Facebook page. I guess Facebook must be for people like us, for old people. Nobody fun is on Facebook, so we're stuck in Facebook enjoying ourselves without the
I
kids.
know, we'll have to take it back to just like posting photos of babes that we've seen.
Babe, here's some more
Like
babes on the beach. There's some more honeys I bumped into.
Yeah, so Johnny, is there anything new and furry in your life?
There, by chance, thank you for asking, we traveled in South Carolina, and
Did you get a black and tan coonhound?
we didn't. We have too many bears, and we would never see the black and tan coonhound if we
An
bought
English
one of those.
foxhound?
I have been warned from these hounds that they love the wildlife.
Tennessee Walker?
Nope. No. To none.
Beagle.
Beagle. To none of these are correct, sir. You are incorrect. You warned us off. What happened is I dutifully listened to the podcast, which you refused to do. But I listened to the podcast and I was warned. My wife is like, we're not getting a dog that's going to run up in the hills. We're not trying to save our dog from a grizzly bear at 2 a.m. Henry is a crazy person. And I tend to not agree with anything my wife says. This I agreed on. I did not want to do the Henry hustle out the door at 3 a.m. to rescue the doggy.
So what'd you do? Did you go Doberman? Lottie?
Pit bull. We did not go any of the interesting and fancy dogs that you want. We wanted. What I did is I went on ChatGPT like everybody else these days, and I asked, what's the easiest dog to own? What dog does not want to go anywhere or do anything? What dog just wants to sit on the couch and watch reruns of Friends? It popped up instantly. It gave me 3 dogs to buy. It said a bulldog, which I have owned, and my bulldog was so high maintenance. No, thank you. She was adorable, but gosh dang it, bulldogs, you use a Q-tip with medicine on it far too often. They get extremely swampy. So I said, no, I'm not going to go another 10 years with a Q-tip with folds. You lift the folds, you swab the folds. You lift the ears, you swab the ears. You need to have a medical degree to take care of bulldogs' ears. They're so swampy. You can't even get into them. It's like I would liken it to, if you wanted to know, the bulldog we had, it was like a pierced ear that had closed. That was the ears, but they still smelt like the devil's anus. So I'm sorry I've ruined, as usual, I have ruined the podcast with all they would need to do is search. If you want to listen to our podcast, all you have to do is search for poop or dumpling droppings, or you'll find our podcast.
Nothing a little plate of garlicky, buttery mollusks won't cure.
So the other breed, they said, just want to sit on the couch and do nothing but watch TV with you, is the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And I'm like, oh, I think they're
No
the
chance
Lady
of
and the
being
Tramp.
misgendered walking one of those.
No, not that there's anything wrong with that. Yes, I think it's the doggy in Lady and the Tramp. They're always tan and white, and they have great dispositions with old folk.
Charlotte was into those on Sex and the City.
Oh, then
Which could warm me up to them.
Yeah, if particularly for you, if it came along with the Sex and the City trio. So because they shed, my wife says, well, let's get a Cavapoo. Let's get a Cavapoo, a poodle mix. Mind blown. They have folks that have poodles, and they have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and they breed them together. So what you end up with is a kind of tiny dog that
Can run
that
a raccoon out of your chimney?
they sense that there's a raccoon, and then they say, "Nah, that raccoon is just fine,
There's
just fine
something
without me."
stinky in our chimney.
Santa is dead in the chimney, and someone needs to drag it out of there, but it ain't me. I am European, so I don't do that. So we picked up the doggy, and it just basically looks like a stuffed animal. Let me see if it literally just, in my mind, just looks like a tiny teddy bear that walks around.
So the name you chose the name, it was, don't tell me you named it Duke.
Well, I won't have to tell you I named it Duke, because I didn't name it Duke. That is Bella Rose. And the one fun thing about Bella Rose is it looks like she has stepped her toes in white paint. So she's mostly brown, but she has white paint on her the tip of her tail and on the tips of her feet. So she is adorable, but she's tiny.
She'll be easy to run down on one of those roll arounds or a scooter.
Yeah, I she is not going to
Bella
be skateboarding.
Rose.
She's not going to be scuba diving. She's not going to be jumping into a tank from a high dive. She has, you can tell, Bella Rose is going to be sitting on the sofa flipping the bird when we say we want to go for a walk.
Or just poking her little head out of your merce.
That's it. When I've got it around, when I'm going to take my adult classes, my adult learning classes, I'm going to have my little purse, and her head will be poking out. And I'll say, "Oh, Professor, she's allowed. She's my companion dog." That's what she does. She brightens the room.
Well,
And
that was great, Johnny.
we adore her. She is 9 weeks old and does not sleep. And the only place she wants to sleep is up my bum. So I am awake all night, and if she's not there, she is literally crying.
Did you pay
So
extra for that feature?
yeah, for that they had models, and one of them said she's gonna cry for 72 hours. When we're picking this Bella Rose up, the sister, who has never been away from Bella Rose, is in the other room crying for 45 minutes straight. So we should have known.
It's a new breed we've got. It's called the American Bum Snuggler.
The bum snug. It's a new thing. Adorable dog, but it is very sad when it's not near my buttock. When it's not.
You need to get her a friend.
Yeah, well, the sister was there. We just didn't have the paperwork to get a second mortgage and refi the house.
Just pair her up with a little plot hound. That'll work out.
Yeah, you know what? We could have her in 1 year, get her mated with one of the hound dogs you so nicely named, and we could have a furry, non-shedding hound dog that doesn't want to hunt.
Another plate of snails, please.
Yeah.
After that mental imagery.
Yes.
Paint that painting any further.
That is not a pleasant. That motif takes me nowhere. So yes, we have it. It's been a ball. The grandkids absolutely adore of course. They love a tiny puppy. She's 5 pounds, so she is really light as a feather. She's going to be able to help me go to my rodeo drive in Beverly Hills. She'll fit right in. So
thinking about one of those service animal jackets for her.
We've already got the tailor in, and they have measured her length and back. They're making 2 for us, one for now and one for when she's mature. Supposedly she'd be about 25 pounds. So everybody out there that knows a lot about dogs can let me know. They don't get too big. Our neighbor has the kind of the original one. It's like a doodle. It's a poodle and a dachshund or something. I don't. And they're a big dog, but they're real fun. He says, hey, they're a super fun party dog. So they said you're gonna love the doggy. It's just a snuggle meister. So
I prefer a dog where, I don't have to help at work the hors d'oeuvre buffet. Dog can just, kind of surf it himself.
Just does. It's
Surf
a
it
self.
himself.
Yes. It's an autonomous dog that you're used to. You have a superpower though. You don't mind when Allison and I listened to the podcast. She said Chris and Henry's superpower is not having their heart just crushed when the dogs die and you guys don't have them as long. And I said, no thanks, man. That is too difficult. You guys have had multiple dogs, and I can't, man. I have to have the youngest puppy possible so that they live a long time, because it brutalizes my aching heart when they die. It's terrible. It's like worse than a family member dying. Who cares if my parents are dead? I didn't even like them. They loved me, but I don't have time for that. Don't have time for that mess. Oh, well. Speaking of our past at the beautiful Skyline High School, not the one that Tom Hanks went to in California, but the one in Salt Lake City, Utah. If you had a chance, they're taking all kinds of things out of high schools because there's just no cash. If you had the chance, is there a subject you would add to high schoolers so that they were a little more prepared for life? The folks coming out now are a little less social now because of the screen time. They have a little more trouble with a life without Adderall. So what would you add in the topics to help them out, to make them be a little more successful in the cold, cruel world we live in?
Well, one that immediately comes to mind would be, gun safety. That was bred out, and now the kids are, which end of this, end of this thing do I jam down my crack?
Yeah. How do I safely not kill my neighbor's son? Yeah. Yeah. It's gun safety. That would be well purposed intelligence, because how do you not kill everyone accidentally would be lovely. We don't need any more of that. I agree. I think something about just a tiny bit of finance. Don't you?
Tax planning would be a big one.
Yeah, just like just a hint of. I mean, it doesn't even have to be anything like we're gonna do a fake tax thing. It would just be a nice week during sociology where they show you how much you don't get in your check, because your first couple of checks, man, when I was working at the store and Castleton's, man, it is a shock that you lose about 38% to all the stuff. So maybe I would have liked to have had somebody show me a check and how much people make when they're high schoolers and what you don't get, and how to And then when adult, I mean, I wouldn't have done any tax planning, but it would have been nice to know, hey, as an adult, people do this.
In our day, I think it was like the football coaches kind of gave us that speech, and
Yes.
they'd say like, you know what, you
Get a
guys are going to
rental.
live the rest of your life paying over $1 for gasoline. This is the last of it. Enjoy it while it lasts. Pretty soon, this is going to be over $1, and it actually stayed for $1 or around $1. I remember, like right after the first Gulf War, all of a sudden gas was like back down certainly under like $1.25 if you went to the right parts of the Southwest.
Yep.
Maybe not out there in Cali, but yeah, that was, the other one I loved was, I always remember from Churchill Junior High School, which you would have missed this guy. But in those days, remember, we had the teachers that had survived the Depression and the sands of Iwo Jima, and they were there in class. I remember one guy telling us, the metric system is taken over. Your guys are going to have to know the metric system. In the future, everything's going to be metric. And now if I could time travel back, I would say, so they are going to convert every piece of pipe in every home in the United States to suddenly metric thread? Or in 50 years, am I still going to be going in and going, you got any 3-inch pipe?
Amen.
They 2x4, not a 80 millimeter by 2.54 centimeter board.
Amen. He was, unlike you, he was not in manufacturing. Coach Rasmussen that was teaching, he tried to tell us, get a rental. You're going to need a rental so you can buy a 280Z. You're going to need real estate. That was good advice. I didn't take it.
I didn't either. I was, my brain was focused on, whether it was pizza or tacos at lunch today.
Yeah. I had other attention. I had other focus. So even if they did give gun safety and did give some tax help, we probably wouldn't listen. We'd still be thinking about, I don't know.
Frame of reference of going to school, 50 years ago. Who knows what they're teaching them now? I know they're endlessly, my kids were endlessly watching, what's the Al Gore movie?
Oh,
A Clear
the
and
documentary.
Present Date. What's that?
The documentary about the end of the Earth. Climates.
Correct. We're all going to get flooded out in the next ice age. Or no.
Yeah.
No, we're going to be bringing back the dinosaurs. That's what it is.
Oh, speaking of which, you know how we're both obsessed with having, the actual plot of all of the dinosaur movies. We want that to actually come to pass. You know how we're obsessed with that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm still thinking about my dream is to be trapped in the long lost time with Raquel Welch.
Well, that is every young man's thought process.
I want to
add dinosaurs.
And fight those giant lobsters with her. I got this one, Raquel.
With her by your side. With Raquel Welch and who was the other icon back then? Bo Derek. She was in the movie 10, and Dudley Moore fell in love with her. So she's
about
the
dinosaurs. Dudley.
Touche. Bo Derek and Raquel Welch. Yeah. Anyway, so we've talked on this podcast before, so everybody knows we're idiots. But the lab Colossal, this lab is injecting DNA from, they want to bring back the woolly mammoth. We have said, yes, please. We want to be attacked by a woolly mammoth, Jurassic Park style, in our house. They've injected the DNA into mice. So it was successful. So these mice are these puffballs of woolly mammoth DNA hair. So I'm so excited.
Well, I'd rather run into one of those on the freeway in my MG than the full giant hairy elephant.
No, I think the woolly mammoth is a good first step, but I definitely want the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I want those nasty ones brought back so I can see the real Jurassic Park.
And imagine if they can come up with a woolly transsexual mouse. Wasn't the government working on that? I don't know. It was talk about tax planning.
They should, because instead of my Bella Rose, I could get one of those, my man purse. I could have a little woolly mammoth transsexual mouse, the
Running
little
around in their
puffball.
habit trail around the house.
Absolutely. They would be a beacon of light for saving the world. I just pull out my woolly puffball mammoth, and everyone would be like, "Oh, save the planet. Save the planet. You are doing your part." Yes, I am.
I always heard this one. You'll love this one. In order to save, you'd get a colony of prairie dogs living under your mansion in Santa Fe. And you don't want to hook up the car exhaust and put a pipe on it and smoke those buggers out. So you call these special groups that will come out and harmlessly relocate the prairie dogs. And so you know what they do? How do you think they do that, Johnny?
Do they put bacon and peanut butter in a cage to lure them?
No, they get one of those giant sewer vacuum trucks and they put that on the hose. And you just listen to the little prairie dogs entering the chamber going, bong, bong, bong.
That is so hilarious. So that is the way they remove them and then move them. What's weird is they move them back to somewhere else after they've gone through the dryer cycle, right?
They go, yeah. Yeah, the inconvenient truth of that story is they take them down to the airport where the relocate them out near the airport so that the eagles can swirl over them and get sucked into your jet engines.
That conjures up
hunting the prairie dogs.
That conjures up an image of the dude with the heart on, heart on his hat. We move them with heartfelt gentleness. Seeing him at the airport with a t-shirt gun, boom, boom, shooting these relocated, humanely moved prairie dogs up into the air so the eagles can just catch them. It's like at the beach with the seagulls chucking bread pieces up.
When they breed them woolly mammoths, that's a zoo I'm going to.
Now that would be one heck of a big t-shirt gun. I got my woolly mammoth t-shirt gun. Whoa! It'd be like a 747 engine.
They'd just rebuild one of those giant Roman catapults.
Nice.
Pop them over the neighbor's fence.
Run away. Yes. That does conjure up some fun, though. It really does, doesn't it? Your mind really enjoys the thought of a Monty Python and the Holy Grail launching, 2026 style, launching a woolly mammoth at the airport.
I think of my friend who he told me he had a lot of stories of living in Rhodesia. And he said that back in the day, the elephants would go into the forest and they would find these plum trees and then they would eat massive amounts of plums. which would
Yum.
then ferment in their stomachs and make them
No.
drunk. And then they would stumble out onto the roads in front of your MG.
And just slaughter your car.
Well, you had to keep your eyes open and your hand over the horn.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So the digestive system of the elephant wouldn't be fast enough to get rid of the fruit while it wasn't fermented.
Correct.
That's insane.
Like
How
your own
much
little
time?
still percolating away in your belly.
Yeah. So now I want to know, how long does a prune take to shoot through it? How many days? If we had any production value, which we don't, we would know this before we started yapping about it, but we don't.
Oh, that's one of our viewer
Yeah.
wrote in
Our-
and trashed me on my misinformation on Hashimoto's disease and
No.
vitiligo, and they're not related. They tend to show up together, but they're not the same thing. So if you've misdiagnosed the wrong skin cream,
You're going to get it. You are going to get it. Because our view, the comments that I've been getting is, what's wrong with, speaking of drunk, what's wrong with the drunk makeup artist? Our glam is not doing their job. There was like 6 different people that went over what we should be doing with our glam. I'm like, man, they don't quite realize that we wake up, stumble into the room, and turn on the computer, and the glam has no chance.
I am
Yes,
having Wooly Mammoth DNA injected into my eyebrows just to try to get a little more Omar Sharif on.
That's the other thing. People love the Omar essence that comes out of the Heine man all the time. It is a worldwide phenomenon now. You have got a viewer in Czechia. What's that country?
Chechnya?
Chechnya. We have a new viewer in Chechnya, which, in my wildest dreams, Omar Sharif and his doughboy Dr. Potato Head would never have gotten a Chechnyan viewer, and we do have one. So thank you very much, Chechnya. One thing, it's got to be the servicemen and women that help us out, because I don't think the podcast has any sort of translation for closed caption. You know what I mean? Is that, or am I wrong? Tell me, Henry. Do you know if there's fancy enough AI that would change our English live so that they could watch it?
Into Chechen? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, that's kind of cool. Makes me want to be. It makes me want to do my own colossal DNA test and inject some AI so we have a whole bunch of captions in Chechnyan, and then we could boost our one viewer. Maybe his whole family would watch.
You never know.
You never know.
Spread it all across the Black Sea states.
Not only did we have good news about Bella Rose, Henry. Back in the day, you probably remember, you asked, well, what are you doing these days? And I said, oh, one nice thing about buying a mic for the podcast is I can narrate audiobooks on Audible. Well, at that time, they were like, hey, all you losers that aren't cool, you cannot have an invitation that's invitation only to the really cool narrators. They said the cool narrators that we really like, that are popular, they can do an AI version of their voice. So like James Earl Jones, before he passed away, he did an AI version. So there's a computer that has James Earl Jones's AI so that he could do Darth Vader forever. Basically, the voice of Darth Vader you could have Darth Vader say anything. Well, they're doing the same thing at Audible, but it was not for losers. It was only for really good narrators. So I'm like, well, why even make us feel bad about how bad we are at this? Why even tell us that this is happening by invitation only? Because we didn't get invited. Most of the idiots didn't get invited. So 6 months later, voila, they do invite me, and they have me read some some lengthy text for a couple of hours, and they did an AI version of my voice. And now in Audible, authors can just choose, the AI is way better than Idiot Johnny, and they can choose that. And an author already chose. So I'm really excited because the AI version of me sounds way smoother than me. I'm like, whoa, this dude's getting me hot on the collar. I like the sound of this guy's voice. It isn't me. I mean, for sure.
So what does your union shop floor foreman say about that?
Not happy about this. He's like, no, do not press that button. Don't.
Well, they're going to do it anyway. I mean, if you get a nickel a show, hey, that's all you get.
100%. There is nothing that is going to keep them from doing it anyway, because really, honestly, it doesn't sound like me anyway. I mean, I might hear one little inflection that might, in a million years, might be recognized as mine. So
little Utah. Well, we was heading up to Mill Creek Canyon. We saw Harry Potter and Ron Weasley, and it was good.
If you want your J.K. Rowling's, there be some magic with Severus and Sirius in the Cairn and Hurricane, Utah. Cairn grown 40 feet high.
Just a sprinkling of Fillmore in my reading.
The other day, you had done a Napoleon Dynamite phrase, and people were listening around us, and they're like, "What? Why is that funny?" I says, "Oh, that's Napoleon Dynamite. It's just a fantastic movie from way back, and it's a guy from Utah, and he makes everybody from Utah and Idaho proud because he sounds so much. He sounded so much like people we knew." But people sometimes hear me and they say, "Well, where are you from?" And I just don't even want to embarrass
You mean, where am I from?
Where am I from? I was from Hurricane in Utah. No, I never embarrass anybody like that from Utah. So I always just say, well, my mom's from Sweden, so I think you're hearing some of that Minnesota
yodeling.
Yeah, I do the Swiss Miss Instant Cocoa yodel. Yodel. That gets, I don't embarrass my actual people that I learned. My public school education has not given me a great accent, I guess. But anyway, I will let you know if the author accepts my robot rendition. The unions, it's not going to make any difference because they're just going to do it anyway. I mean, they could have just invented my voice and 1,000 voices that are like mine, and just that's it. Here you go. We're not paying Johnny nothing. So anyway, so I will let you know. Not that anybody's interested.
What's the title of this book that he's doing? Is it like a 101 Saint Schnooky Doodles?
On Amazon, you can self-publish like a lot. So most of the books are my Nargwan Planet Terror. It's just 100,000 sci-fi, fantasy books. So most of them are like that. This one, the person was has lots of series of them. So he'd done this book many times of the same series, and so I'm just 100 of this one series. So I'm surprised because it's an actual like good author.
Let me know if they come up with another version of Barbarella, a little follow up to that, something.
Barbarella, Attack on Mars.
The AI generated young version of Jane Fonda.
Hello.
Could be interesting.
Connor and Jake are not going to be happy about you lusting after Jane Fonda again.
Now
I know she's not
the Chinese
Italian.
anti-aircraft firing Vietnam Jane Fonda. The nearly naked sexual freedom Barbarella 1000 BC Jane Fonda. An AI generation combination between, Raquel Welch needs no AI generated follow up. Kids, go out and see the classic movie 1000 BC. And for the special effects alone, it's magic.
Now, are you talking special effects? Or are you talking... No,
there's giant lizards, and they were taking super close-ups of iguanas and people with spears. Fabulous.
Yeah, I know. We leave it at Raquel Welch. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Checking In with Hein and Johnny. You can follow all things Hein and Johnny by subscribing to Checking In with Hein and Johnny anywhere you listen to podcasts. Checking In with Heine and Johnny is sponsored by Conveyors and Equipment. They supply, design, and service all types of conveyors, belting, and material handling equipment since 1972. With 3 locations to serve you, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, and El Paso. Find them on the web at conveyequip.com. That's CONVEYEQUIP.com.